CNN's Isabel Chapman has a hilarious story here for us. She explains a Texas lawmaker, Representative Jessica Farrar, has proposed a bill that would fine a man $100 each time he masturbates. The bill also imposes a 24-hour waiting period if a guy wants a colonoscopy or a vasectomy, or if he's in the market for some Viagra. So, let me do my own calculations here. Carry the 3. By my own calculations, I owe 13 quadrillion dollars. What she's doing here is she's saying, yeah, a lot of laws like this are proposed for women, so I'm just going to flip the script on men and see what happens. And all the Republicans took the bait. They're all like, how dare she? But wait a second, that's the point. The point is, how dare she? That's right, exactly right. Now, why don't you act that way when it's women? Because for women, I mean, think about all the laws that are used in a similar way against women. I mean, they act like there are many people in the country on the far right who say the second you're done having sex, there's a third person in the room. Even though that's not biologically true, that's not accurate, when you're talking about a fucking gamete or a zygote or an embryo, that equals the same thing as a 32-year-old man with all of his constitutional rights and fully formed opinions, etc. So what they say is, even if you take the abortion pill or the morning after pill, you're basically committing murder. That's what you just did. Well, okay, if you're going to go that far to say a fucking gamete or a zygote equals a human being in law, just go one little step before and say, look, your sperm, they're all potential human beings. Because that's what it would be. I mean, they could become a life, correct? They could become a human. Just like a zygote could become a human. So if that's the standard, hey, it could become a human at some point, maybe. If that's the standard, you just set up that standard, fine, then we're going to ban you jerking off. $100 fine every time you do that. You're lucky they didn't file it as murder charges. You just murdered, 17 billion people with that one load you dumped. Like, that's what the argument, that's the logical conclusion of the argument. You nutted, you're a murderer, by your own logic. So she's just trolling. So calm down, everybody. And basically the point is, hey, let's loosen up a little bit here, especially when it comes to early on in the process. So if you're talking about a late-term abortion, I think that's a totally different conversation, and there's a reasonable debate to be had when you talk about, hey, the nervous system is developed in the fetus, and so the fetus can feel pain, and the fetus is viable. So if you're at that point, that's a totally different conversation, and one I think is reasonable. But if you're talking about a gamete or a zygote or a pregestation fetus or fucking a cum shot, well, obviously it's a different thing. It is literally a different thing, so you shouldn't treat it like it's this egregious moral wrong. And these are the same people, the same Republicans who would say, we're going to mandate a woman has a burial service and a funeral and for a miscarriage. That kind of overarching government, which unnecessarily forces people to do these things. Well, that's why she's proposing this, to say fuck you to those people. Really? You're going to make people have a service for a miscarriage? You're going to ban people from the morning after pill or the abortion pill or early on in the process here? That's what you're going to do? Okay, well, let's take it a step further. We're going to ban you from jerking off. How about that? So it's a brilliant move to troll and make a point. I think it makes the point effectively, but of course, right over the Republican heads.